Hey collectors, welcome to Star Wars Collected. I'm Jonathan. If you're new here, I hope you consider sticking around and subscribing. If you've been here before, go ahead and hit that like button because today what I have for you is the Black Series Darth Vader helmet. It's a little bit late, but I can't wait to open it up with you guys. Take a look at it. I'm also going to get out my two other licensed Darth Vader helmets. We're going to check them all out together and see which one is the best value. Let's go ahead and open this up. So I made this order from Old Republic Collectibles LLC. It is my first purchase from them. I got this and another item that we'll be opening in a future video. And while it was great because they were offering, I think it was like 25% off, something like that. So I got a really good price on it. They were pretty slow to deliver. They got this to me a few weeks ago. I may have been out of the country actually at the time when it came in, but it was quite a bit slower than everyone else. So, you know, if you're not in a rush, definitely check out the Old Republic Collectibles because they have been running that promo off and on since I made this purchase as well. So you might be able to get lucky, find a good deal, but you're probably not going to get it as quickly as you might have hoped. All right, it is well boxed. So they went ahead and put bubble wrap around the actual product before they put it in the brown box. So that is nice. They are definitely collector minded in that way. And let's go ahead and see if we can get this bubble wrap off here. Bubble wrap is taped on, but taped to itself, not the actual box, so that's good. And there we go. Now this is one of the bigger Black Series boxes that I can recall. Of course, there has been a Darth Vader helmet before this one that I never purchased. And we could talk about that one a little bit. And actually sort of a warning, if you are looking for a Black Series Darth Vader helmet out there on the secondary market, you're going to want to make sure you buy this one and not the other one. You're going to want to make sure that it is, you know, it matches this box art. Maybe you can find out when it was purchased, things of that nature, because there are some significant differences, which is why, you know, I think this is the first time that they've kind of reissued a helmet that wasn't just sort of a repaint. There were some issues, in my opinion, with that first one. The face never looked quite right on it. It did not have a very long neck on it. It just looked off. It looked kind of fat. It kind of looked like a toy, which is odd because they claim that it was scanned from the original, all that stuff. So maybe it's our perception that's a little bit off, but it didn't look right to me. So let's take a look at the outside of the box here. Black Series always does, I think, a really good job with their boxes, somewhere in between being a collectible and a toy. It gets you hyped up a little bit. They always do this art on the side now on their boxes, which I think is a cool way of doing things. This goes ahead and shows you that it has the iconic sound effects and that it also comes in 3 pieces that you can take apart. That was one of the first things about the first helmet that I really, really liked, even though I never bought it, was that it comes in multiple pieces. And when people sort of display it as 3 pieces sort of stacked on top of one another or slightly spaced out, then it looked pretty good because you couldn't quite see that when it was all together. It didn't look quite right. Little white box lid here. I'm always interested to see how they package these because it kind of seems like each time they package them a little bit differently. We have a little pamphlet here. So this one is technically Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi Darth Vader helmet. So this is technically, you know, supposed to be from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. It takes 2 AAA batteries, which we will put into that at some point here. And just sort of shows you how it goes together. And there's a little, you know, illustration on how to put it on your head and all that stuff. We can definitely figure that out because we are smart. We are smart Star Wars fans. So we'll lift this top part off. Okay, so like I said, this is in multiple pieces. Unlike most of the helmets that we unbox, which tend to be a single piece already sort of assembled together for us, this is the top part, the actual like helmet part, the dome. Each piece is individually wrapped and I appreciate that. I'll kind of tell you maybe why I appreciate that later. Very shiny. Not in a bad way, just very shiny, good gloss. A couple places here and there where there might be like a little bit of a nick, a little bit of a swirl. So maybe not the most perfect plastic. I see my first criticism of it, but I understand why it's there. On the top here, Not sure if that'll focus, but on the top here, we have a little injection molding piece of plastic, basically, that is somewhat necessary for when they make plastic things. It's unfortunate that it's there. Maybe it's better there than anywhere else, and with the way the mold had to be made, maybe that's where it had to be. But that is sort of the first negative that I see. However, I know most of us will probably be putting this on a shelf or something of that nature, so probably not going to be the biggest deal in your collection, but that is something I definitely want to point out as not being screen accurate. So I'm going to put the dome down here. And we'll get out the rest of it. Anything else in here of importance? I don't think so. Good packaging overall, very secure in there. Here we go with the actual mask and neck piece. There are little protectors on the tusks. Take that off of here. Okay guys, and here we go. Here is the actual face of Darth Vader. Now, the first thing I'm going to point out is a negative that I saw at Star Wars Celebration, not to be negative about it, but there are some mold lines right here on the front, which are just really unfortunate. If you want a view to be perfect, in my opinion, you probably want it to be the straight-on view, and if there are any imperfections, you want them to be, you know, around the back or underneath or something like that. And unfortunately, they are right there on the front. Now, they're not hideous, but that is sort of a knock against the screen accuracy. These tusks appear to be a little thick, again, for screen accuracy, but that's probably going to make them wear and tear a little bit better for people who might be using it. One thing I do want to point out is that they've got the paint job correct on this one. So if you're kind of new to Darth Vader helmets, and maybe this is the first one you're thinking about buying, you might not be aware that Darth Vader's helmet is not just completely black. When they were trying to film it, it just didn't have any contrast to it. It just didn't show any of the depth and the detail when they were filming it, because, you know, it's black and it's on something like the Tantive V4. You know, this has the white hallways. They're surrounded by stormtroopers, so trying to get that exposure just right, all that stuff. So what they ended up doing was sort of this Harley Quinn type paint job, where this is gloss black here, but then this is sort of this satin silver or satin gray. You know, gloss black here on the cheek, and then another satin silver piece here, satin silver, back to black here. So it is actually a very interesting paint job, I think, to check out and kind of understand the history of. Lots of really cool details. Most of these will be hidden when you put the top onto it, but they are really nice details to have there. Of course, you have the bright red lenses on the front. What is common on toy helmets is to make the eyes a little bit too big. If they're too big, it's maybe 10% or something like that. Of course, we don't have the actual dome on top of it, but I would say that that's pretty accurate. There's a lot of detail here that is molded but then not painted. You know, maybe it's not supposed to be painted, but that is an opportunity maybe for you as a collector to go in there and add your own little detail to it and make it maybe a little bit more your own. We also have more lines here from the molding process going right up the neck, going around the side here, and that. So that's unfortunate. That's not what we like to see. I understand why they're there. It's part of the process. It is sort of the drawback that you get when you're, you know, being able to buy a helmet like this. In my case, for about $100, maybe even less. This is the stand for it. And the first Darth Vader helmet also had a stand for it. The dome being on the back doesn't really let it sit actually flat. So this piece is designed to kind of help prop everything up and kind of position Darth Vader's helmet looking forward instead of sort of up and at the sky. So that is kind of a nice little addition that they give you for that. Most of the helmets do not come with something of that nature. So we have this neck piece across the back. Very, very cool, very, very nice. They have little tabs on the side here that pop off, and that allows you to remove it. We'll take one quick look at this. It does have somewhat of like a rubberized piece back here. Lots of great details again on the back. Some are hit with paint, some are not. This is sort of a rubbery plastic. I can't really think of a time where we've seen Black Series helmets use this in the past, so that is a new material. And you have another piece of rubber, of course, on the other side there. So that is kind of a cool new practice, something I haven't seen them do before. One thing I'll notice here about the top two is that there are magnets on top, and of course that will be for the dome when we decide to go ahead and put that on there. Lots of great details. You kind of have this diamond textured pattern all throughout the inside. Down here actually it's a little bit of a herringbone. And on the side here is where we will put our batteries in when the time comes. And I'm going to go ahead and prop that off of there. That is held in by pegs and magnets. So magnets are here, a little peg here to help line it up, and magnets, of course, all the way across the bottom. Go ahead and take a look at this piece here, sort of the respirator piece. We have these little pieces sticking up here. I love to see these. These are something that really stuck out to me in Return of the Jedi when he takes it off for the first time. And I could be wrong, but I think when we see the melted Vader helmet in The Force Awakens, you're either seeing this or you're seeing one of the tusks at some point as well, melted in there. But lots of good details, you know, not prop replica level details, but Black Series continues to impress with what they're offering us for that price. I do see there's a button over here, and that button must be then for hitting that to get the sound effects. So we'll check that out here shortly. You know, actually pretty good weight. Some of these Black Series helmets are not necessarily the heaviest, but this actually has quite a bit of heft to it. You can see how thick it actually is. And the inside here has much of the same kind of details. Less details overall in this area. A very nice pad on top, which is reminiscent of the Imperial cogs, so that's pretty cool. And a little bit of rubber here around the nose to make that a little bit more of a comfortable fit. This actually might be a decently comfortable helmet to put on and wear, so we'll have to check that out. So let's go ahead and put it all together real quick, and we will rejoin this. So, you know, it's just like in Revenge of the Sith, the helmet comes down and snaps into place. I wonder how often Darth Vader has nightmares about just that exact moment, about the exact moment that helmet came down and, you know, he was no more. He was no more as far as seeing with his own eyes, encapsulated basically forever. Just the couple stints he would get here and there. Okay, so just sort of placing the dome on top here and kind of hoping that the magnets will just sort of kick in for me. There we go. Nice little snap. And there we have it. This is our Darth Vader helmet Black Series, the second issue of it, the second edition of it. The button is visible from the outside. That's a little disappointing. I really, really wish that they would do a better job at hiding these buttons. They have been doing a much better job. It still blows my mind that like the Stormtrooper helmet has a giant battery panel on the back of it. I don't understand that at all. But something like the X-Wing pilot helmet, the button is sort of like a button that's already on the helmet. The Poe Dameron one was sort of like the entire earpiece, and he wouldn't really notice it. So that's unfortunate. I don't love that. But overall, the face shape of this is so much better than what we saw from the Black Series originally. So I would say that this is, if you never bought one before and you want a Vader helmet in your collection, you saw the last one and were just turned off by it, I would say this is definitely the one to go for. And if you already had the previous one, it might be time for an upgrade. Like I said, I never responded to the first one. I always thought it looked a little bit cheesy, not quite right. I think this one is better. It still feels a little wide in this area for me, so maybe still not quite perfect. But let's go ahead and get some batteries in this guy, and we will check that out and see if it fits and see if it's comfortable. Collectors, we have the batteries in at this point, so let's go ahead and hit the button on the side here and see what it does. Fairly classic, you know, breathing sound. It doesn't sound quite movie accurate to me. It might just be the speaker quality, that it can't quite produce the bass or something like that. Noticing that the front here actually says it's removable for extra ventilation, which is interesting. You can remove the grill from inside of here, so that's interesting. You know, guys, I don't tend to you know, use my helmets. My helmets are purely for display purposes. I can say that sound is pretty underwhelming for me. I remember also as a kid I had a voice-changing Darth Vader, we'll call it a mask, which actually, as a kid, sounded amazing. I thought it sounded like exactly like James Earl Jones. So maybe I kind of wish that there was a little bit of that in here. You might recall that the Kylo Ren helmets had something of that nature. built into it, so that was pretty cool. And it also occurred to me that you guys like it when I put the helmets on, so I'll put them on for you. But this one's going to be kind of a hard one, I think, to put on and off with the neck piece in the back and whatnot. But you got to give the people what they want, and you guys definitely deserve it. I have the most amazing people watching my videos, so I will gladly put the helmet. Whoopsies. Okay, so it's not even close to fitting my head. I'm actually going to leave the neck piece off, I think. Okay, I'm getting in here a little bit. And here's the dome. Okay, my eyes lined up eventually. Oh my gosh, it really is like, oh, I hit the ceiling. It's a little low right here. Ooh, snapped in. I'm afraid I'm gonna hit the ceiling when I walk forward. All right, so I'm in here. Actually, visibility is excellent. Everything's red, of course. It's a little tight on my jaw to actually move my voice up and down. Maybe I'll give you my best Darth Vader. Impressive. Most impressive. If you only knew the power of the dark side. Alright, I feel a little evil wearing it, so that's good. Helps you get right into character. Not something that I would want to wear for an extended amount of time. I have all these helmets in the world back here. I have probably over 100 helmets. And for Halloween, I was po-damn without a helmet because my rule for Halloween is to not cover your face and to be able to be comfortable in the temperature that you are having to be in. Halloween normally is very cold for us around here, but it was actually great this year. So anyway, let's go ahead and compare this with my 2 other licensed Darth Vader helmets, and we'll take a look and see which one might be the best value for you to pick up. Collectors, try not to be alarmed by the faceless man behind me. We stole his helmet for the day. And what he was wearing before was this helmet right here. This is the Rubies Supreme something or other Darth Vader helmet. And it's not good. It's really not good. Now, there is another version of this that is even worse. I'll try to find a photo of that and put that up right now. I'm sorry you had to see that. So this is an improved version of that, but it's still pretty bad and pretty wonky. None of it quite lines up. It just doesn't look good. The lenses look cheap. They're not the right color. And there's a little like injection mold thing here on the back. And mine particularly is in really rough shape. Now, what I have over here is the EFX helmet, which is my favorite. It really is a solid helmet. It looks great. And I've seen this helmet on with the Rubies costume, and it definitely does a huge upgrade. But I'm kind of weird. Like, I feel like if I have my wall of helmets, that if Darth Vader's helmet wasn't on that wall, that it would feel like it was missing. Even if it's just on actual Darth Vader across the room a little bit, it just kind of feels like it was missing. So I was still displaying my EFX helmet separate from my actual Rubies costume. So my hope is that this will actually end up replacing this piece. So we're gonna go ahead and just get rid of this guy. Maybe if you can pick him up for a song, he's okay. But the neck down here is super wonky. It's just kind of all over the place. It's not the worst, but it is not great. It's not something that I would recommend anyone purchase. So let's go ahead and take a look at our top 2 contenders here. So here's our new Black Series helmet, and here's our EFX helmet. Now you will have to excuse that my EFX helmet is actually decently dusty. When we moved, I packed it up and did not take the time to clean it, and I just want to get it out and show you guys now. So between the 2 of them, there are a lot of differences. You can see right away in the face how different the face is, how much wider this part is than that part. The paint jobs are the same in that they kind of hit the same cheeks and all that stuff, but the quality of the paint job is quite a bit different. You have a very high gloss on this. This is not quite that level. And if you look at something like A New Hope, especially in the Tantive 4 scene, his helmet is not that gloss black. It's been through some stuff. The tusk on this one are also much more accurate. You may have recall, I noticed how thick these tusks were. These are much thinner tusk on there, and this one has a little bit of weathering on it, which is accurate for that piece. Size overall, as they're sitting on these stands, they probably look decently different, but in person, they are comparable. You know, they're not the same, but they are comparable. EFX does excel at the way that they manufacture their pieces, so there is no ejection molding pieces here and there. I actually do not recall ever seeing any seams on this, which is a little bit different than their Stormtrooper helmets, which is a lot of people's gripe with that, is there are some seams on that. And the way things line up and things of that nature. Now, that all being said, the interior on the Hasbro piece is tremendously more detailed than the EFX piece, which is not hard because the EFX piece has absolutely no details inside of it. It is just completely empty. It's also 2 pieces instead of 3 pieces. Now you can still wear it, you can still put it on. It wears great, I'm sure. And it also uses magnets to attach, so there are some similarities there. But there is not that sort of exploded helmet effect. So the other thing is that you can't, as far as I know, buy the EFX helmet new from EFX, or really new from anywhere right now. So you're looking at the secondary market. I think when it retailed for around $300, maybe $330, something like that. And there were 2 different versions of it. I believe I saw one hit eBay earlier this week, and it was well north of that, maybe $400 or $500. So this is kind of the classic line when it comes to Black Series. Is the Black Series as good as the more expensive piece? No, it's not. But is the more expensive piece multiple times better than this? Is it, you know, say you could buy this for retail now, still $300 versus about $100 for this guy, maybe $150, I don't exactly remember what it was. We'll say it's twice as good. It's not twice as good. You know, and anymore you cannot get this for that price. So you're looking at paying at least 3 times, maybe 4 times the cost of this one to get this one. And it's just, that's a tough call. I'm really, really glad that I have this in my collection. I feel like having a perfect Darth Vader helmet is kind of a goal for everybody that has a Star Wars collection. And you know, this is not a perfect one, but it's a really good one. So if you're a collector who isn't all you know, bogged down with the obsession, and you just want a really good looking Darth Vader helmet to add to your collection, I think that this is certainly an improvement over the former Black Series helmet, certainly an improvement over the Rubies helmet that I put down on the ground that will never be seen again. And while it maybe doesn't play quite with the big boys, I don't think you're really gonna notice it. Collectors, there you have it. Those are my thoughts on the Black Series helmet. I think it's a solid addition to anyone's collection if you're looking for a Darth Vader helmet. It's certainly going to be easy on the wallet compared to some of the other options out there. Now, we just looked at licensed versions today. There are plenty of makers that you're going to find on the Facebook groups, on Etsy, things of that nature, that are also going to make some really solid Darth Vader helmets out there. Quite honestly, there's probably an independent maker out there who makes the most screen accurate one out there, beating out things that kind of have to be mass produced to a certain extent. So if you're on the hunt for the perfect Darth Vader helmet and you don't think EFX is the one, you don't think Black Series is the one, there are going to be other options for you as well. Collectors, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like. If you like videos like this, please consider subscribing. We have new videos here all the time. I'm obsessed with one-to-one helmets. I also do a lot of Hot Toys and Sideshow. And I had a once beautiful collection room. We've moved, and now I have this big blank slate. So we will be putting this collection room together here over the next few months. So if you're into something like that, make sure you follow along. Guys, thanks for watching. I love you so much, and I'll see ya.